perspective, I'm gonna try and go like this with it if I can. We'll see. Because I know everybody's not going to fit around me. I use this because we're always lighting and putting out and lighting and putting out, so it just makes it a lot easier to have a candle.
Excuse me.
Oh, let's see. I got that.
My thought was if you're in the class, it would be good to come over here and let people that want to see the demonstration get nearby.
Okay, sounds good.
You just got one out.
You got thrown out of your chair.
Serious.
Okay, so flame painting on copper. Okay, so this has been around for centuries, right? Manufacturing and jewelry, and they make copper and brass and gold in Egypt and all that kind of stuff. Well, so copper's been right there along with them, but this is a particular technique where you actually have control enough to actually make a portrait, designated shapes and figures, and add color to it and keep it. So I always like to tell a story. When I first started out, I was doing silversmithing and I was burning up my silver. So somebody said, well, dude, do it in copper and learn how to solder first and then go back. So I did that, and as I was working in the copper, it was like, oh my God, where are all these colors coming from? And then I was like, oh, there's a really pretty blue, and I'll show you that in a second. And I tried to save it, and I thought, oh, that's really great, and I'd watch it, and all of a sudden it would just disappear. And I didn't know why, so I tried to do it again, and then I'd quench it in water and trying to do everything I could to keep that color. Well, anyway, it was a fleeting thing. Then I saw my my instructor, Janet Pace, who introduced us to William Holland. She had this great picture of this wonderful painting with, you know, shapes and colors, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and it blew me away. It was like, how in the heck did she keep all that stuff? So I got hooked, and then it took me 1.5 years to get in her class, and then I finally got in her class, and then, you know, we did the class. I was not very good at first, just like everybody. You're not very good at first, but by the end of the week, you finally catch on, and it's great. Yeah, and then it's over. But anyway, it's a little hard at first, and it sinks in. Oh, Sandy. Yes? Okay. So she's been in my class, and she's saying, yes, it was. So, and it just depends on everybody and how fast you can learn. Some people can just get right into it, some people not. I turn up my torch, I turn down my torch, I turn off my torch, I turn it back on, I turn it up, I turn it down, I turn it off, I turn it up, I turn it down, and you'll see in a second. Okay, so when I first started flame painting, here we'll just see some, I'm limited on my hose. When we paint, we're going to come up with all sorts of colors, and the first one we come up with is gold. Then it starts changing into a red, magenta, okay? Then it starts slipping into blue. So blue ends up heating up a little bit more, and then you're gonna see yellow. Yellow, get that. Oh, that little spot down there where I have my attachment, that's a heat sink. So I'm gonna go and get that taken care of. So now we have yellow. Then it's gonna go into pink. Pink's kind of coming around the corner. And then green. Pink and green are hard to keep, so we don't try until we go into what's called a hot technique, where everything's hot. It's a beautiful, beautiful look, and you'll like it, but that's the only place that you're going to be able to find the greens and the pinks. Okay, so I just did all that to show you that we have a regimen of colors that come every time. They come the same order every time, so when I want to get a blue, I know that red is before it. So when I'm heating it up and everything's starting to change, I know when I'm at red, I need to slow down. So when it gets to blue, I can keep it. Because this heat will blow through a color faster than you can believe. So this is what I would call flame coloring. Flame coloring and flame painting, two different things. So if someone's in here and they think, well, let's just kind of bathe this guy. Okay, see what happens. Okay, oh, there's some colors building. And here's some colors building. Uh-oh, look at all those colors coming in. Which one do I keep? You know, so that's bathing it and flame coloring. And you come up with some fantastic colors and designs, and if you practice that, you can come up with some repetitive things. But the colors are beautiful, but they're random. And they're not, you can't get them back. If I tried to make this plate look like another plate and put a pair of earrings on, it's very hard. So, there's that.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
The bigger the piece, does have anything to do with how much you have to heat it?
Well, I mean, yeah, sure. Copper is very conductive, right? So
Okay.
when I heat up this corner wants every bit of that heat. So it's sucking the corner, all the heat to it. It's not like silver or gold. So it's a different kind of a animal. So if you got a really big piece, it wouldn't be bad to have a pretty good sized flame, or learn how to keep the plate hot and move your flame around. But that's, hopefully that answered that question. All right, so in doing so here, I'm going to start flame painting. I am going to create a background. And that background is so I can go in there and erase the background, come back in and warm it up again and create different colors. So my background color is going to be brown. Okay, so I went through all of those colors like I just did a moment ago. I'm in yellow, and I'm going to need to get through my pink, through my green, and then all the way to brown. So what is this? How am I getting colors? Well, copper's kind of a dirty metal, and actually silver tarnishes too, or oxidizes. And that's what this is. It's an oxidation layer. Let me see how. Okay. I want to get a nice brown color, but not too charcoaly brown where it's going to flake off. Okay. So here's my ground color. Okay, and I'm going to cut into that and erase, then heat it up again to a certain color, and then erase again, heat it up, and I'm going to have a pattern here. But let's get back to the oxidation. So as I'm heating this up, the layers of oxygen get thicker and thicker and thicker, and as they get thicker, you see different colors. So the oxidation layer, depending on how thick it is going to be the color that you see. All right, so now, all right, so I got my background color. I'm going to go down to about a 4 to 5 inch flame, and then I'm going to start cutting some figures. Now I'm going to do a landscape like that. Okay, dang it. You know what? I'm not going to do a landscape. You know why? Landscape is, shit. Okay, I'm not going to do a landscape. I'll tell you why in a minute. Let's just go ahead. I don't want to keep everybody too long. I'm going to do meandering. Okay, so I'm going to walk around the plate, then I'm going to walk back around another time, and I'm going to create a colorful background of yellow. So here I go. I'm going to clear. So this is an reduction flame. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the fly. And by the way, I'm on drugs. I got a really sore neck yesterday, so here I'm going to probably make some noises and not say the right thing. Anyway, So this is a reduction flame, reducing the oxygen off of the plate. All right, here I go. All right, I'm just going to kind of go quick. I am erasing this material, and I'm kind of just walking around on my plate. And now I'm just going to kind of cut across it again just to make some interesting patterns. Okay, so now I'm going to just cruise this way. Okay, and you're going, oh, what the hell are these doing? All I'm doing is just creating some color and some movement and activity on this plate. All right, so now, that was a drawing flame. So now I turn off my oxygen, I adjust, and then I adjust my oxygen back to a painting flame. I almost screwed that up, didn't I? All right, so I'm going to go with a violet colored flame. It's more pencil-like. It's not a oxygen reducing, it's oxygen producing. Oxygen reducing, yeah, there you go. Okay, so here I go. I'm going to take that red, I'm going to go through my violet. It's already kind of blue. So the next thing that's going to come up, my next color is, yeah, the blues are beautiful.
Teals are gorgeous. There's your
Okay.
peacock right there.
All right, so now I stop and I'll watch it and I'll let it finish changing colors. The plate gets to be 1200 degrees, but right now my oxidation layer is at 800, 900, 1000, and then it'll finally have an equilibrium and stop changing color. So I gotta wait for that and then go on to the next thing. So that just looks like a big hodgepodge of color, and that's it, basically what I want. Now I'm going to fill in all these little squares. Can somebody get me a plate like this fixed up so I can show them landscaping? Okay. So now I'm going to turn that off. I'm going to lower my temperature of my propane flame. I'm going to find my drawing flame again, and I'm going to fill in where all this little brown stuff is, right? The vacant areas. So I'm going to do this little plant with, we call it an agave or a cactus. Anyway, it's a plant. Okay, and that looks kind of cool. We also did feathering. So I'm going to create a line, and it's an overlapping line. And it's going to look like a wing or feathers or scales. You know how they overlap and just look really pretty. So here's that particular stroke. All right, I'm going to do another plant. I'm going to shoot that dude over this way. So I'm just drawing first, then I'm going to add my colors. Let's see here. Oh, I'm just going to do just a little thing here. And some stuff there. Okay. Drawing is complete. Thank you, sir. All right. So now I want to put color back into it. So what do? I'm just increasing my temperature of my torch to that violet flame, and now it's a painting flame. You got to distinguish drawing and a painting flame. So this is hotter. So now I'm going to try and introduce my heat back in, and I want to change all my colors to blue. All my erased color to blue. Okay, so I'm going to have yellow, then blue, then copper. I'm going to do some accent tones, which will be copper, and so then you'll have blue against yellow, which is a contrasting color, and then you have the copper against the blue. It's contrasting. So what we're looking for is contrasting finished look. If everything is going to be pretty, Um, and they'll pop. The colors will pop since they are contrasting colors, okay? So see how nice that is? And I'm just going to go through here and kind of tweak some of these colors. This is a little bit lighter than what this is going to be. And so there's a nice variety of blue and magenta, and I'm going to leave it right there. So now, turn off my flame. Oh, all the way off. Turn off my oxygen. Reduce my propane just by a little bit, not much. Then I add my oxygen back. I am going to my drawing flame, and now I have to wait a minute. This has to cool. If it's hot and I do my erasure, it's going to paint. And I don't want that. I want to be able to control my painting, so I'm going to slow down at this point and let this cool down. Okay? And we'll normally wait till about a minute. Okay? So 34, 35, 36 seconds, 37. All right. I'm ready to go. All right, so I'm going to draw again. So I'm doing some more erasing of colors. I can do any kind of shape I want. All right, let's see, I'll do an agave inside this agave. So there's that one, that one, that one. Okay, so I did a plant inside the plant. A little something here. Kind of cool. All right, and we'll just do a little thing there. Okay, so another thing that we haven't done yet is a dot. And so to do that, we have a certain size flame, which is about roughly 2 to 3 inches. I go back into a drawing flame. If I have a 6-inch flame, I have a drawing and a painting flame. I turn it down to a 4-inch, I have a painting and drawing on that same size torch. Okay, so here I turn it down to 2 to 3 inches, I have a drawing and I have a painting flame. Okay, so just in case you wanted to know. Okay. Here I go. Okay, I was talking too much, so it got cool. Okay, so there's a nice little there's another one. Okay. All right, so I got a couple of little dots in there, filling up some space, making this kind of cool looking. Turn that on. Turn it up. All right, so I'm going to add some color back in here. Make this nice and exciting. Okay, getting a little color in here. Okay. All right, so now I'm almost done. So I'm going to just do a few accents, meaning I'm just going to clear to the copper color, and then it'll just be an extra complementary item here. Just give it a little more contrast. Okay, there. Something here and right there, give that corner some interest. See, I mean, it's really pretty there, but now watch, I'll just get this little, that just gave it a little more pop, right? A little more interest. Okay, so that's meandering. It's kind of cool, right? Yeah. All right, I love it. So now, the reason that I decided not to do the landscape because it's really not so much this type of scene, which is the technique that we are learning. Okay, so now this is what we've done up to this point. When we figure out what we're doing and we decide to expand into some more areas of flame painting, what we'll do is we'll do a landscape, and it's real cool. So now I have a very clean sheet. We run it through that sander, put it in the pickle, go back on the sander, go back in the pickle, go back on the sander, and then we're done. Then it's real clean. If it's not real clean, we won't get all the wonderful colors that we're getting, and it may flake off if it's got some kind of dirt on it. So you see, and I'm going through all my neat colors. Here comes my pink. After that, it's got a little bit of green. I don't know if you can see it. It's a fleeting color. And then my brown comes up. Let's see how dark I get it. Okay, that's cool. All right, so now, the next thing I'm going to do is, in my landscape, I have a skyline. I have a river, so I'm going to focus on the left side of the river. Paint those two blue. Then I'm going to establish ground on one side of the river and ground on the other. Paint those and put in a moon or a sun. Okay, so here, my drawing flame, I'm going to do my sky. I hope I can do this upside down. All right, so I'm dragging. So that's not my literal laying down my torch like I did on that last scene. Okay, so I've done my sky. Doesn't look like much yet, but I gave it a little bit of a line so it'll have some clouds or some variation in it. I turn my guy here and I'm going to establish the left side of my river. It's like, that's river. Doesn't look much like a river, but it will. Okay, I turn up my heat because I need to turn, this is already kind of turned blue. So I'm going to bring this up, get it close to that color there, and then finish both of them. Bringing the two colors up at the same time. The main thing is that river's got to be blue. Okay, so this is going to be an interesting looking little guy here. Okay, drawing flame. I gotta let this cool. And now I'm going to establish the right side of that river, and then I'm going to establish the left side. So we're thinking about perspective, and the river's coming from that direction. It's really small, 10 miles out there, and as it comes here, it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, right? So that's what I need to try and portray here. So I'm going to have my land small on the top and get a little wider as I go. Okay, and make some interest here in the land. Doesn't look like much, but here we go. I'm going to do the other side of the land, or the river, excuse me. I'm going to just add a little mountain here, make it a little interesting. So now I got my sky, my river, and my two sides of land. And I'm going to increase my torch. I don't know how you guys can see this, I got to see it. I'm just going to add a little bit of color here. We're going to make this a little psychedelic scene. I can't put grass in there. I don't have the ability to get green. So I'm just going to warm this up. when I get some of these sides warmed up enough, you're going to start seeing some contour. So when I came through there and just made a little bit of a squiggly line, it's going to give some interest in the land. Saudi Arabia. Okay. All right, so that's kind of cool. Now I'm going to do a dot for the moon or sun. I'm going to come down with a smaller flame. I'm going to get my drawing flame, and then I'm going to just put it in right over here. So here I'm going to just go in and go, boom. And there's my landscape. How about that? All right. Any questions?
Oh,
Huh? You want to get in the class?
oh yeah.
Okay. All right, next year.
Do the colors stay the same?
Oh, thank you. You know, they'll stay pretty close to the same. So this is an oxidation layer. If I don't seal that, I can go in here and rub it off. So we seal it, we'll put it in a lacquer, and then let that cool or dry, and then we can hit it with a finish coat. Now, whenever we do whenever we do seal it, it'll change a little bit of the color. So when we do a contrasting color piece, no matter what it changes into,